Dude, this plaque that Bedford made me is so fucking cool.
Was that the one you were holding in the photos?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was sick.
It's like composite wood.
Oh, man.
And he used hand tools to carve it out. He did like can you guess what I'm trying to say by the sound?
Planing.
Yes.
He did
No,
a thing.
like
Rubbing.
it's not wood burning, but like
Wood stroking.
He stroked the wood.
He stroked it real good.
hand tools.
And
Hand
then
stroked. Hand stroked.
and he busted it out when we were there. It was so cool. It was awesome.
He hand stroked and just busted it out.
Just fucking busted that shit. Oh, like busted it out for everyone. Right?
Wait, did he bust it out first and then do the hand stroking, or was it?
There's a little bit of
reverse
both.
order? Okay, all right. During and after.
Hey Bedford, what are you doing? Whoa! That's
Hey!
so cool.
It's everywhere. This is awesome.
Just an explosion of hot drop.
Just pass it around.
Yeah, everyone gets a turn.
We pulled in and I honked the horn and I got out and I yelled, Bedford! And then he came out and I met him and Matt, and he was there already. And then
Matt is Dubbeard.
yeah.
Duh, Beard.
And then we just kind of went out. We saw his house, super cool house, and he did most of the work inside, which was awesome.
That's really
and
cool.
then we went and hung out in the back deck and kind of just chatted. And it was like, it was weird because I know I'd never been in the same physical place as these people,
Right.
but we were just hanging out, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not an awkward moment was had. It was just like, these are my friends. Came to hang out with my friends. This is
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's crazy.
Yep. Got to hold Beauty and the Beard's baby, and he's the
Wow.
cutest, chubbiest little guy in the whole world.
Looked adorable.
Baby Beard.
Yep. and then saw Bedford's kids when they got there, and they have as much energy as you would imagine they would have, and they were adorable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I put on a level 2 helmet and a level 3 vest, and Bedford essentially has almost every gun in the game in real life.
Oh, okay. Did you
Yep.
shoot him?
I didn't shoot them, no, but
Did
he
they
did
shoot
show
them?
me.
I just wondered if maybe like they put a pan around your butt and told you to run around.
No, he made jalapeno burgers and
Ooh.
chicken, and we had that mac and cheese, and then Beard brought Sugar Shack donuts, which apparently are like heavenly. I didn't get one, and that was my only regret for this whole thing. Is I forgot to eat one because I was just talking to everybody.
That's a mistake. You'll have to just meet up again. Have more donuts.
Yeah, next time eat the donut first. You're like, I'll talk to you later.
Shut up! I need a donut.
It's kind
it
of
was-
funny
it was
now, by the way,
Super awesome.
that I was the one who started Hot Drop, yet I have not met a single Hot Dropper. Meanwhile,
Well,
John
quit
and Cody
being a
have
hermit.
both done meetups.
Speaking of, the UK boys were talking about doing another one because we are jealous of all the cool things, and fun
Well,
times.
The slogan for our meetup was "Suck it, UK," because we got wives and kids involved.
Oh, get dunked on, UK.
Suck it, UK.
It's very homely, but ours is definitely on brand for UK.
Homely. It was homely.
It was
Did I
ugly.
say homely?
You said homely.
Like home life, like
Home life.
everybody.
Homie.
Yeah, like
homie, not
homely.
homely.
Yeah.
Homely's like homeless people.
I thought a homely
No.
meant like physically unattractive.
Are we starting another war between the Europeans right now?
Yeah, but I think I'm over here.
Homely,
I'll
North
find you,
American.
John.
Oh,
I'll find you.
hold on, guys. There's two
What?
definitions for the word homely. One is a North American definition, and one is a British definition.
Oh,
All right, so we might have to fight about this. The North American
Okay.
definition, which is the correct one, is of a person unattractive in appearance.
Okay.
The British version is of a place or surroundings, simple but cozy and comfortable, as in
See?
one's home.
Oh,
no.
shit.
Literally mean the
integrated.
opposite. Literally mean the opposite
they
depending on
literally
where
mean-
you are.
Fully integrated.
Homely. What is homely?
Yeah, so it sounds very homely, but like I said, I think the UK one was very on brand for UK. Like, just go to a pub and drink a bunch of
Oh,
beers.
definitely. Yeah. It couldn't be more UK.
We
Unless
were
you,
there
like,
for 3 hours.
invaded a country for their spices or something.
We were there for 3 hours and it went by so fast. I was mad.
I bet. It looked like an awesome time. I'm jealous.
It was
That's
great.
awesome.
It
Well,
was
you
really
just
great.
have to set one up, Dan.
Yeah. No one wants to come up here, though. I don't have anywhere to host, is the other thing. That would be awesome if I had a house and we could do another cookout type meetup, but
Yeah.
don't have that yet. But I will one day.
Did you guys see what Jamie just posted in right now? A few minutes ago, right now? He wrote, "We have some teak furniture made from reclaimed wood from Indonesian boats. It's such a beautiful wood." I wrote, "That is the most British and most millennial thing I've ever read." Bravo, Jamie. He writes back, "Oh my God, reading it back, I sound like a huge cock."
Reclaimed everything for Jamie. 100p.
Seriously, though, that guy's house, though, is like
Oh,
what I
I know.
imagine walking into a British home and feeling like, this is where I live now.
Yeah.
Like, this is everywhere I've always wanted to be.
Better Homes and Gardens.
I call
British
my
version.
backyard the garden. Like, that's just it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. He loves his hardwood. He wouldn't buy a big desk mat because he didn't want to cover up his European whitewood.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame the man.
I don't blame him either. You like what you like. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a nice homely man. Oh God! All right, let's do this thing, boys.
Flant.
Flan, flan.
Wrong song, you son of a bitch!
I can't even remember how the new one goes.
Neither can I.
All I can remember are the OOs, and we don't even have them.
We took 'em out.
The button's clicked, and now it's the real episode.
Is our
Yes.
episode the reorganization of the Discord?
Maybe.
Yeah, we just go through it all. All right, so here's what is new on the Discord. Rules updates 1, rules 2, hot updates 3, new episode.
We reorganized the Discord. Link in show notes.
Also, we do have merch. Link in show notes.
Is this the link in show notes?
I have no
Yeah.
fucking clue, but you better
Last
put it
I
in the
saw.
goddamn show notes.
Okay. Link in show
No,
notes.
it wasn't in the show notes. Link was in the show description.
Oh, show description. Yeah, show notes are our thing. You have the description.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one
Yeah.
cares.
You don't have access to the notes, plebes.
No one cares about the notes. But yes, this is the Hot Drop, not a PUBG podcast. Unfortunately, for those who care. Fortunately, for those who don't care. We're really selling it this time again.
We got to work on our intro.
We need an intro. Someone show feedback. Let us know what our intro should be. Just kidding,
Actually,
we'll never let you
what
have
would be
that
fun?
control over the podcast.
Listen, what if we did this? Is we gave a script out. We put the script out there,
Yeah.
and we tell the community members to record the intro,
Ooh.
and we play one of our community members every single podcast.
That could be very
That
cool.
would be fun.
Like
Unless they say
you-
things that are not nice.
they have some
No,
creative
we give them
freedom.
a script.
They have a little bit of creative freedom with it,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we give them like you have to say these things. Don't be crass. Too crass.
And don't sass. No
And
sass
don't-
or crass.
Oh my god! If you sass, I swear to God. Swear to God.
Swear to God.
Swear to God.
say God just like I say sass.
I tell you, boys, I tell you, if you sass,
I
swear to
Yes,
God.
it's grass.
Going off the rails again.
Oh my
That's a
God,
good idea.
guys,
We'll still throw that out to the interwebs.
Yeah, that's
Toss
the
it out
thing.
there.
That was our whole pitch. This is still our intro. We're working on it. You guys will post it up in updates. You record it, send it back to us.
Flamp, flamp, flamp,
So
flamp, flamp.
that was it. That's all we had to talk about this week. So we'll see you next week.
That's our show. Thanks for watching. I hope
I've
someone gets the
been-
Bill Nye reference there.
Thanks for landing that on letting that land. properly. That felt really good.
Felt good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what are we up to, boys?
I don't remember. Are we starting with the dickhead?
The dickhead?
There's a dickhead?
Oh, we're definitely starting with the dickhead. Which dickhead?
Oh, the comment.
Yeah. We got our first legitimate hate mail, and I'm pretty excited about
Yes!
it. Okay.
Let's go.
So we switched, right? We switched.
We are the Hot Drop.
We are the Hot Drop.
In case you didn't notice your feed.
We're no longer doing PUBG specific stuff, which
Different picture as well.
Nice.
is correct. And with that comes the haters. We've never legitimately had hate mail before. And Dark Bulb on Instagram commented.
Straight comment, throwing him out.
Throwing him
the bus.
on the bus. Literally on top of the bus. Not under.
That he rather liked our podcast when it was about PUBG. Of episodes were anything but that, which doesn't make much sense other than stating what we already know, that we are no longer about PUBG. The last episode was the last one for me. Rip. 20 minutes of mind-numbing, excruciatingly boring tale about some car and how many miles were driven.
How dare he refer to the Jeep Gladiator as some car, sir?
The pain
ma'am.
and the hate that is coursing through my veins right now to speak of my beautiful 2020 Jeep Gladiator as some car. I hope you can get my scare quotes in here. Some car.
I see them.
Yeah. We have it in stereo, so we definitely heard the scare quotes.
Insulting, sir or madam. I mean,
Dark Bulb.
what the fuck? That was maybe the worst podcast ever recorded. Anyway, enjoyed the past. Painful to listen to. Best of luck.
You're
Thank
welcome
you.
for 2 years, Dark Bulb.
Thank you so much, Dark Bulb.
2 years of PUBG content. Not enough for you, apparently. Not enough. Oh, by the way, we're dropping a bonus PUBG episode next week, so tune in for that.
Yeah, suck it.
Unreal. I love it. I love the haters. Bring it on. Show feedback. Leave your hate mail. Leave your love mail. Wait, why don't they call it love mail? It's just hate mail.
Because it's just normal mail.
It's
Normal
love
mail?
letters.
Love
It's
letters.
mail and hate mail.
Yeah. I just like to look at the positive perspective.
I like to consider every bill that I get hate mail because it's 2019 and they should just do it digitally by now.
Did you just say it's 2018?
It says 2019.
Oh, okay. All right.
Go back, check the tape.
Check the tape. Roll it. Respect.
I like to consider every bill that I get hate mail because it's 2019 and they should just do it digitally by now.
It's 2019.
That was a good impression of my voice.
Yeah. Dark Bulb, I'm sorry. This is not everything you dreamed of, but there's probably about 1.2 million other podcasts out there. Maybe you can find a PUBG one.
You can go check out Winner, yeah.
Great podcast.
Go hang out with Winner.
Bunch of homely guys, really. You'll feel right at home.
What would be funny is if Dan forgot to edit in the part where we clarified homely.
Bunch of homely guys. Also, they've MTV Trigger, by the way, just played some Twitch rivals, so that's pretty
How
awesome.
cool is that? Yeah, man,
They're
I
going
watched
strong
some
over there.
of that. That was awesome.
Very cool. Very
Good for you,
very
man.
cool. We're still playing PUBG also, by the way. We stream every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/HOTDROP_podcast. Podcast. So we are doing the PUBG thing, just not really covering the news other than bonus episodes. So look forward to that soon.
Cool.
On to better things.
On to better things.
These are your things, Cody.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to talk about what's going on in my life. I just got back from a beautiful vacation. It was fun. We sat on the beach. First in flight mode trucks. We got there. We had a bunch of plans to go and do all the sightseeing stuff, like go to the Wright Brothers Museum and the monuments and the parks and all that stuff. See the wild horses up in Corolla. We didn't do shit. We got there. It was 90 degrees like almost the whole week. I sat on the beach. I bodyboarded and I drank alcohol. It was great. Boogie body board. Turns out they're synonymous.
Can you explain what boogie boarding
Boogie and
is one more
bodyboarding?
time?
Bodyboarding
Yeah,
is
so look it up.
bodyboarding. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you said sorry.
No, not body surfing. So boogie bodyboarding
Okay.
is like squid in Rocket Power. Everybody else was surfing and he had the boogie board. It's like a short styrofoam plastic thing that's not a surfboard that you lay your chest and stomach on.
Google's squid from Rocket Power. Image search. Oh, yeah, okay.
He got the longboard
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a surfboard. It's smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I did it a lot when I went on vacation as a kid, and I was like, cool, I have a whole week to do this. So I went and I went to Walmart and bought one, but I bought like their $30 one and not their $5 one for kids.
That's the correct one.
And it lasted the whole week, and it was awesome. It was so much fun because the first
So you
4
ripped
days.
it in half in the end of the week?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay, because you said it lasted the week, and I thought that meant it was gone.
No,
the end of the
It
week.
still exists.
Oh, okay.
But the waves are really cool the first 4 days. And so the first day I went out and I was like testing it out, like feeling good. And then the next 2 days I was in the water like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Oh my god, you must have came out like a raisin.
Daniel, I have never been so sore in all 30 years of life. I was like, oh man, this is great. This is great. I fell asleep by 8 o'clock every single night that I was on vacation.
Oh, that's amazing.
I woke up at 5:30 in the morning for the sunrise.
Jesus.
But the days that I was in the water, like I woke up, my body hurt. I was like, what is happening? I had like swimmers here. I had whiplash from just like getting crushed by some of these waves. And Nikki's like, oh, well, why don't you just take a break? And I was like, don't tell me how to live, woman. And then she said, all right, we're in public right now. And I said, you're right. I'm sorry. And then I went back in the water and I did it again another day. And I did it again another day. And as it turns out, I am not a spring chicken anymore.
Oh, that's what my grandma says. I'm no spring chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a winter chicken.
But it was a blast. Let me tell you, being in the water is like one of my favorite things in the world.
Same.
Yeah, I was in the water pretty much the entire time of my vacation too. Ocean or pool.
Your
Love
photos looked awesome. Both of yours did.
Same.
I'm really jealous of the boogie boarding. It was something
Me
I
too.
used to do a lot, but since I moved out to California, I surfed a lot more, and then I got out of it the last couple of years that I was out there. So I really want to, when we get back, I really want to get back into it because I just love being out in the ocean. It's so much fun.
It is.
Come out to
honestly,
LA. I'll take you out.
when I was looking at the surface, I was like, I want to try that and get good at that, but I feel like you're not in the water as much. Like, I don't know, a little bit different because they're riding like the shoulder of the wave, whereas like when you're boogie boarding, you're like in the wave.
So it depends on how the wave breaks. If you're on a smaller, like a shorter board, instead of a long board, you can really get in some of the smaller waves and crouch down in them. But if they're not big enough, you can't like. You can ride a surfboard like a boogie board. It's the same thing basically, just a little bigger. Yeah, a boogie board is smaller,
right?
But like the standing up part of it, it just feels insane when you stand up on a surfboard. It's a really magical feeling. But yeah, I mean, you are in the water most of the time because you're like sitting on your board, and that's probably the coolest thing. Is like
it's so relaxing, isn't it?
You're not like lying on it, like paddling around or anything. Like you just squat down on it. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to do that so bad.
But I love boogie boarding. It's really fun.
When, like waiting for the waves, there were a bunch of people out there, and a lot of them were my age. Couple of older guys too, and like you just kind of like sit out there and talk to these people that I didn't know because we're all waiting for the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's very
You
simple.
don't talk to anyone? No way.
It was super cool though,
I'm not coming
because
out of
like
the cave. I'm a hermit.
I didn't know any of these people, and we're just
Get
sitting there
out my way.
talking. And then they would like tell me about the area or where they grew up and stuff like that, and that was a lot of fun. It was, I don't know, I had so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
But there were also some times there was like just stupid, stressful. Most of the time it was just traveling, but it was like there's a difference between traveling by yourself or like with Nikki, and a
Right.
difference with traveling with all four of us, like the two kids and that, because the kids aren't going to want to do the same things that we wanted to do the whole time, which was frustrating. But like we took the vacation to relax. And you realize like they're not really old enough to realize like what we are doing to get them on this vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it costs money, and like while we're not like poor by any means, we are not like rolling in it. So like we had to make sure we had this money to go on this trip, and we had to. It's never going to cost what you think it's going to cost.
Yeah.
You know, because you get down there and you realize you haven't packed certain things, or somebody needs something different, or a higher SPF, or you got to go out to the meals, and 2 extra meals on top of what you're getting is more than, you know, you would normally expect, stuff like that. But
plus you're hungrier because you've been bodyboarding all day.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I mean, you do. It was so we packed the truck, and we had 2 suitcases, our cooler, and then whatever you wanted. Like the books were stored under the seats, and everybody had like 5 books, you know. And we went down, and it was fine. The kids read through every single book. I only read 1 book because I was in the water so much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Well, how long was the drive, by the way?
It was only supposed to be 10 hours, but it was 14 hours. And that was literally the worst part, because we got stuck in traffic. It was actually fine until we got to Richmond, Virginia. When we got to Richmond, Virginia,
yep,
it was unbearable. It was so hot outside that even the AC was like trying to keep up. Like, it was terrible. Jesus.
Was it like stop and go traffic?
Just stop traffic.
Just stop.
No go. Just stop.
It was just stop. But we were on 95, and we were just passing Richmond, and everything stopped. Everything just stopped. And then Google was like, "Hey man, we can give you another route. You want to take that other route?" And Google changes voices when you get down to Richmond. It was super
very strange. Yeah, really strange.
And we were like, yeah, that'll save 23 minutes. So we hit it. And as like we got off, everybody else seemed to have gotten off too. Yeah. And we were like, well, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So then we were in traffic again for another 45 minutes or so. Got back onto 95. And it said like, oh, we can save you 23 minutes if you get off the next stop. And I looked around, and every other car around me was hitting the same thing. And I was like, we are not getting off this road. We are going to stick through this because I am tired. We have been on the road forever at this point. And we finally got out of it. And then we got to Norfolk, and there was traffic there too, because that happened to just be rush hour all of a sudden on a Friday. And so we're stuck in this traffic. But when you cross the bridge over to get on the highway to go to the Outer Banks, it's like 55, 45, 35 with lights in between. So you're going 55, 45, 35, almost every single 3 miles. And it took forever, man. And it was stressful because like traffic is stressful as it is. But when you are trying to track GPS, like I needed Nikki for GPS, the back aren't paying attention because they're just grumpy and bored. Yeah. Because, we've been in the car for a long time. So I'm just like, you guys need to be quiet. I don't want to hear you right now. This is really bad. Like, this sucks. And I'm nervous. Like, I'm not nervous about me getting into an accident. I am nervous about somebody else, because people in New York, we know how to drive. Mm-hmm. I'm telling
Everyone says that about where they live, by the way.
I know this. And I'm telling you, so specifically in my area and like Buffalo, you have to, because the highways get terrible in the winter. And so like people use the left lane for passing, and they use their blinkers, and they use their brakes beforehand. And like people are generally very good drivers. And the second that we got into the South, it was like people were swerving in and out. Like Maryland was terrible. People were swerving in and out of traffic, not using blinkers, cutting people off. I saw a bunch of accidents like right in front of me. It was, oh God, I hated it so much.
95 is always bad for accidents and stuff like that. Around the DC area, it's just miserable.
It was terrible.
Everybody's trying to get home faster, and even like whoever they cut off. But
yeah, so I saw a bunch of people like on their phones texting, going like 75 miles an hour. It was just
that's cool now.
Super unsafe.
No, it's
cool. And like these aren't things that I ever thought that I would say. But like
2018, it's fine.
They drive by. And I'm like, this is like infuriating. These people care so little about safety on the roads.
Yeah. They all think that whatever they're doing is way more important than everyone else's, and I think that's just a mentality that you need to keep in mind on the road, that like you're trying to get somewhere just as eagerly as the car next to you, so just chill the fuck out.
Aggressive driving is what I say. Just be aggressive as much as possible. cut off the guy. You got to get there first. You're the first or last, really.
That is the Boston mentality right there, man.
Don't listen to anything I'm just saying, by the way. Be safe, people.
But then let's get over the stressful parts. Okay?
All right, let's get into the good.
Once I got down there was virtually nothing that was stressful other than the fact that I am sharing a room that I can get zero privacy in for 8 days.
So what was the lodging setup? Are you in like a cabin
hotel?
kind of thing? Hotel?
We were in a Hilton Garden Inn. It was a nice
fantastic.
hotel. It was like the only hotel on that, like, in that town.
Mm-hmm.
And it was next to a bunch of houses. So like there are 6 floors of rooms, whatever, but the beaches weren't crowded. There was nothing loud about it. We weren't near a road. Like, it was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the room is 2 queen beds and then the bathroom.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So and I love my wife to death. She's my best friend. But we both like to have some private time every day, right?
Sure.
You know, to sit around, be with your thoughts. And like, that was impossible. And the kids don't understand that concept. And so it was just nonstop of that.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I got to live in another place for 8 days and just do whatever I wanted. So I would get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
But why?
And I would,
But why
and
5:30?
Because the sun came up.
Did you watch the sunrise with the jeans shirt and jean jacket?
Yes.
Oh man.
And so I would get up and I would go find a place to get breakfast every day. And I would drive around and I would find cool things. And I would see, like, essentially where the locals were going, because no fucking person on vacation's up at 5:30 in the morning going to find stuff, right?
Not
So I would just kind of like follow traffic and figure out where people were pulling in. Like, I found Biscuits and Porn, which is
I saw that.
Mostly a misleading name. It's mostly just a really awesome gas station with the best breakfast. And the Morning Coffee House, which roast their own beans every single day.
Surprisingly carries a lot of porn.
Yeah.
Everybody had a lot of
porn.
Duck Donuts was like a touristy donut place, but everybody seemed to like it. So it seemed touristy. There were like 4 locations, but like they had made to order donuts every single day. And so you just go in, you tell them what kinds you want, and they'd make them for you right there. There were a bunch of like, just like breakfast diners and stuff, like small town looking breakfast diners. And I loved it. I loved just kind of exploring every morning and doing those things, because that was like the alone time. But that's what I like to do, though, is like go and find out what that place is about without just going to the touristy stuff.
Yeah. Did you go off by yourself then, or did you like? Okay. Cool.
Yep.
He was
Nice.
up at 5:30 in the morning.
I didn't know if like your wife went with you or not.
Well, she was
kind
up,
of
but that was her
child
time to
gets up?
read and drink coffee, and the
I
kids
see.
would sleep until 8.
Gotcha.
And so like that would be our time to go and just kind of do our thing. And that, honestly, I loved it, because I got a sweet tea in the morning, and I love sweet tea. And so like it was just wonderful. It was great.
Nice.
And then I'd get back, we'd eat, and it would be like 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. We'd be like, all right, we going to the beach now? Yep. And we'd take our stuff and go down to the beach and literally park it for the day. We'd like tie up the boogie boards in case we were sitting in the high tide area. We'd take our books and we'd go in and eat lunch. And then we'd go back out at 1 and just sit there again until 5, go in, get dressed, go to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd, read a little bit and fall asleep by 8, and then I'd be back up doing it again.
It sounds awesome.
But it wasn't even the fact that we were just away. It was we were away in a place that doesn't live like we live. And so I was able to kind of like live a little bit easier and not like stress about anything. I didn't think about work one time. Not one single time did I think about work when I was away.
That's awesome.
I was just really relaxed. I got to like kind of reprioritize some stuff and figure out what I wanted to do once I got back. And like, I just feel good. Like I woke up this morning, my alarm went off at 6 this morning, and I wasn't like miserable about it. I was like, oh, okay, well, it's 6. I got out of bed at 6:30, but I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
It was a little hard getting back into the swing of things at work, but I had that time away to kind of think about the things in my life that are stressing me, the things in my life that I value and what I want to prioritize. And because I got to be in a place that lived a little slower, I was like, there's nothing stopping me from doing that here.
Mhm.
It's just like the idea behind it. And so I was
Yeah.
like, well, we're going to try and hold on to this for as long as possible and see where it goes. And so we've got some cool things in the works at the Beard Face Homestead.
Nice.
Awesome.
Like breakfast diners.
Yeah, man, I would love a breakfast diner.
I love breakfast diners.
They are literally the greatest food establishment that could exist.
Yeah.
What's your guys' go-to breakfast at a breakfast diner?
There is no go-to breakfast.
I'm gonna get yelled at again for.
Yeah,
Probably.
you're just gonna say ham.
No, I don't order ham. No.
Just get out of my ham.
Sausage.
You have a ham? I want a ham.
I love pancakes.
I like French toast, so it's not that far off. So French
I like
toast,
making my
home
own
fries,
French toast.
bacon.
I would never pick. If I had the choice of any breakfast foods, I bet you out of 100 times, 0 times would I pick French toast, pancakes, or waffles with my breakfast.
Well, see, that's where you're wrong, kiddo.
I like them, but there's no way I would like them more than eggs, bacon, toast, home fries.
I can have eggs every day of my life if I wanted to, but I can't have French toast every day of my life because it's too
Why
much
can't
work.
you? No,
It's
it's
too much
not.
work.
My wife makes French toast like 5 times a week.
Well, she has French toast skills that I do not have.
Yeah, well,
not
if you
very
would
hard.
just make the goddamn French toast, you would realize it's not that hard, Dan. You're just living in fear over French toast.
I have to buy bread. I have to buy bread and eggs and cinnamon and what else?
You
Milk,
don't
maybe.
have
You
those
have
things in
eggs?
your house?
I don't buy bread.
What?
have bread.
I'm just worried about the eggs.
I have eggs.
Okay.
I just
That's
we don't
one
really
thing.
buy
Wait,
bread.
whoa, what?
I don't.
I also don't have bread in the
I don't
house
have bread. I just because we come home, we make dinner. I don't really make lunch, so I don't have bread.
I
That's
eat
your problem right
leftovers for
there.
lunch.
And if we
That's-
get the bread, it goes stale before it's done, or it
That's-
gets moldy.
That's unheard of in this house.
I know it.
Aiden literally has peanut butter toast every morning.
Well,
A
you do have
sandwich
double
is
the
eaten-
people.
A sandwich is eaten by 2 to 3 people every single day for lunch. And then most of the time, Aiden will choose to eat a peanut butter sandwich for dinner.
I used to eat sandwiches a lot, but I just like in the rhythm that we have here, it's just not something that I need.
Yeah, there's no snacking. There's no meals eaten here other than dinner. So no bread. No bread necessary. Unless we're splurging and getting some crusty bread for dinner or something
There's
like that.
no snacking?
No. I get home and we make dinner right away, and then I go to bed. Or I have a giant
Your
bowl of
life
popcorn, which is
sounds
what I do.
horrible, sir. You heard it here first, people. The millennial married lifestyle is horrible.
And so is this podcast. Painful to listen to.
Excruciatingly. What did he say?
Excruciatingly boring tale.
Yeah.
Worst podcast ever recorded.
I'm sure he'll love the part about traffic.
I mean, I'm sure that they'd like me talking about my trip from year to year here
Yeah. True.
in stereo.
Yeah. stereo. I'm probably going to down mix it to mono, so that just sounded like
Anyway.
me going stereo. Anyway, continue. What
Let's
else we
wrap
got?
up my thing here.
All
Let's wrap up my thing here. I have a thought.
Okay.
What's your thought?
What's your thought?
Take a little bit of time this week, and this is to you two and our viewer listeners.
I've got homework.
Think about the things in your
I knew we
life
shouldn't have rebranded.
that we're rebranding. Think about the things in your life that stress you the fuck out.
Work.
Think about them objectively and think about what you can do to just not give a shit about that
This
and
podcast.
still do what you have to do.
My relationship
because-
with Cody and John.
Fuck
Is
you.
a thing that stresses you out?
Yeah, these are all stressors. Because I'm always caught between this situation where it's like John's my friend and Cody's my friend, but Cody and John are just acquaintances. I just like
Fuck
don't know
you,
what to
John.
do. I just don't know what to do.
Love
so I
you.
panic. I just get stressed out. Say it back.
Because when you identify these things,
Yes.
Yeah.
you can start to see the stuff in your life that you're kind of wasting time on.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized, I was wasting a lot of time thinking about work after the fact. I was spending a lot of time thinking about like bills and money after the fact, even though it's like not a bad situation. You're just always kind of looking for the future.
Yeah.
You know, like you're always planning for the future because you want to have that essentially the baby boomer life, right?
Yeah,
you
it
have the
doesn't
house and
exist
then you have
anymore.
the summer house or the extra cars or whatever. But like, I don't need to worry about that because like I make pretty much sound financial decisions. And if I worry about them too much, I'm not going to enjoy the things that I have. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to want to do anything with the time that I have because I just want to sit there and unwind instead of be productive.
Mhm.
There were a lot of times, especially in the winter months, you know, you're not doing a whole lot. So you come home and you just want to watch TV when you could be doing something. Oh my God, I have the burps right now. You could be doing something. You could be reading books. You could be learning about new things. You could be finding new hobbies. And like I've fallen into that almost every single winter of my entire life, right? Like I get home, I'm stressed out. It's already dark out. I just want to lay down.
Yeah. Hibernate.
I'm not doing anything with that. And so when I was down there and I saw these people kind of doing things in their spare time, and I'm sure there are plenty of people around that are just sitting in their houses on a 90-degree day watching TV. But like you see these people who are not much older than me that are out there and doing and learning, and it just made me go, what am I doing? All right, I'm going to go home. I'm going to read more. I'm going to go outside and do stuff. I'm going to wake up earlier in the morning and be productive before I go to work. So I have something that I've started and can look forward to when I'm done with work.
Mm-hmm.
So take some time this week, reprioritize some stuff. Let us know what you think.
End
of Cody's segment.
Oh, I was just going to say that is pretty
I
similar.
said end.
It is. Your segment's over, son. But that's actually pretty similar to how I felt when I went to Colorado. Like people were out and about. It was the nature thing, I think, definitely, that people latched onto. But people were up early. They were hiking. They were doing things. They were seeing the mountains. They were experiencing nature. They were getting away from their TVs and their computer games and all that stuff, which I love, by the way. Nothing wrong with a good PUBG sesh. But just like the different lifestyle. Because I think also, at least millennial culture, society, whatever you want to call it, is kind of glorifying the whole like go home, binge Netflix and do nothing, which is awesome. Right. I love it. It's so much fun to do nothing, but you got to do other things. And
when
so
you start to get mad that there's nothing to watch, you know you're spending too much time being reliant on media.
Yeah, I agree with that. John doesn't.
When you know there are some books that you can pick up.
No, I'm trying to internalize this more because I don't think I've never identified these tendencies as a relation to stress. Like I do want to, when I have a really stressful day, it is really helpful for me to play like a long period of video games.
Same.
And I'm like, I just need to do something on the computer, and then I'll play like, 2 or 3 hours of video games or something to try and de-stress or whatever. And I do a lot of like casual browsing of streams or like TV on my computer, that kind of thing. And I never associated it directly with stressors, because I feel like even though I'm in kind of a weird situation, I don't feel like I'm highly stressed, and I tend to deal with stress decently, like maybe not completely healthily, but I get it out of my system pretty easily.
I think most of the time you're a good compartmentalizer, and like you can rationalize through your thought processes.
Oh yeah, that's definitely I definitely logic my way out of like that kind of thinking. Like I still feel stressed, like a spot with work at the end of last week, just because I felt like I was trapped in a thing that I couldn't figure out. And I kind of just like, we went out to see a show. We went to a musical, and just like we had dinner before it, and all throughout dinner I was just kind of like quiet and in my own head. But paying attention to the show really like opened me up and let me like relax for the weekend, basically. I think if I hadn't done that, I would have been pretty in my own head until I did something to like decompress on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's interesting to, I'm just trying to like internalize it and make myself work on something other than just like catching up on a show that I really want to watch. Yeah. Speaking of, I just started Killing Eve, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty good show.
Nice.
I started Good Omens last night, and that was pretty good.
I've heard that's a good book.
I have never read the book, but I have read a couple other Neil Gaiman books, and those were very good.
American Gods,
Norse mythology.
Haven't read that one.
I just started this new show. You guys might not have heard of it. But I feel like it's going to go somewhere. Yeah, Game of Thrones.
It's called. That was a joke, and then I realized that was actually the truth. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
let's re-record that one.
Love you. Say it back. Yeah, fuck.
Hate you.
How far into it are you?
Season 2, episode 5.
Oh,
I just finished it. I actually watched the last episode.
Yeah.
Just like a couple, like yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It is a good show.
I got a video to send you, Cody.
Okay. Is it just right?
Yeah.
I already watched it.
Isn't it good?
It's real good.
It's real good.
Everybody
show.
should
No
go
one
and
cares.
watch Just Right Stuff. It's awesome, and it really makes you think.
Friend of the show. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. There's some very disturbing things that happen in this show. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of torture. A lot of Joffrey just kind of being a tool, I guess.
Shit-eating fuckhead.
Yep. More accurate word to describe that. He's a homely character, pretty much. I was like, oh damn, like this is rough. A couple of times Kate and I turned to each other and we're like, oh my god, what the hell? What are we watching? But the story's pretty good. I'm like finally realizing who everyone is, how everything fits in. It's right now if anyone is not familiar with what happens in season 2, episode 4 or 5, it's right when the crazy red lady gives birth to the demon thing in the cave.
Oh yeah,
That just happened. So
man.
that's where I'm at. So I don't know anything that happens beyond that. She just pooped out the Shadow
She's
Man.
a great character.
And now we're gonna see. The
I
hilarity
love
that
this because
ensues.
most of the people that listen to this podcast have seen the show.
Mm-hmm. We should probably make a segment out of this, like Game of Thrones
Yeah.
update with Dan. Only about 8 years late. But no, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. It took us.
Stannis is also pretty great.
Okay, cool. That means he's gonna be around for a little while then. I just assume that everyone's gonna die, like in the next episode.
Yeah, you should.
I'm super
you
on
should.
edge all the time.
You should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But it took us about 3 times to get into it. We tried a couple times and then we just kept falling off just because we didn't grasp all the characters. We didn't really. She's really not big on medieval stuff, like how they talk and things like that. I don't know. She couldn't really get into it, but then she kept trying over and over again because she wanted to be part of all the social media about it and be up to date.
She's
on what's
a little
going on.
late.
But very late to the party. But that's okay. So we eventually tried the 3rd time, and that's when it stuck. And then we watched a whole bunch a couple weekends ago, and now we're sticking with it. We want to see what happens.
Nice.
But it's also one of those shows that it's definitely an investment, and also you kind of have to be in the right mindset for it because it's a heavy duty show. Like it's not a very funny, happy show all the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just don't want to watch that kind of show. But I do want to get through it, and I do want to watch the whole thing from start to finish.
I always wondered what it would be like to binge the show because I always watched it current season week to week.
From day one, I watched it current season week to week.
Yeah, same.
That's a lot of time if you think about like all the time that we've sat here anticipating the show every single week, talking about it with our friends, waiting 1.5 years for the next season. to come
it's
out.
like 10 years.
Oh,
I don't have any of that problem. Now we watch like 3 or 4 episodes a night some nights. But you usually do like 1 or 2. Just because we have dinner late and then we go to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So
right.
You can fit 2 episodes in by then?
yeah, if I get home at like 6, we eat dinner at 7.
Yeah.
We're in front of the TV by 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I
Squeeze a couple
guess she
episodes in.
gets back at around 8. We watch something, but we can only usually get like an episode in.
Yeah.
My boy falls asleep at like 9.
What time should she get up? That's early.
She'll like fall asleep at 9, and then I'll wake her up when I go to bed to get her into the bedroom, and then she'll fall asleep again until like 2 in the morning, and then she'll say that she wakes up from like 2 to 5,
Ugh.
Jesus.
and then she'll be up when her alarm goes off at 6.
Oh, God.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I've been having that same kind of problem. I keep waking up at like 3 or 4 every single night.
I
don't
like
know what it
never
is.
wake up. I never wake up.
I
I
think it
decide
might
when I
be-
go to bed. I've never fallen asleep in front of the television ever.
Neither do I. I can't do that because I want to watch. I want to see what happens next.
I can always keep myself awake until I decide that I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
It's just like, nope, not time for bed. Okay, now it is time for bed. And I'll get up and I'll fall asleep like that.
Mhm.
And then I'll wake up when my alarm goes off. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night in ambient. But that's about it. Without the ambient. I'll just wake up and eat. Sometimes I'll, like, it hasn't happened in like a year. But for like 3 solid years, I would wake up every single night needing something to eat.
Weird. I never
Like,
get hungry. I always get thirsty.
Out of the dead sleep
I
going,
get hungry, yeah.
I need something.
Hmm.
And I'll just like wander. And I remember what Mr. Gettle said in science class about the purple in your eye and how
Ah,
it adjusts
the fucking
how it adjusts to the night light. And that's, and so I keep one eye closed, turn another light on, and I
Yes,
switch
I do
eyes
the
when I
same
turn it back
thing.
off.
I do the same thing.
You got to keep what sleep you have. Just keep it locked
Yep.
in. Don't
Yep.
want to lose your sleep.
Well, that is
purple in
not
your
for
eye.
sleep for me. It's for night vision.
Yeah, that our science teacher in high school called it the purple in your eye.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Because
it's
apparently
purple.
that's the color. He said that was the color of the chemical that it's to light.
Or the cones or the rods or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And so that's how I always remembered it.
that's crazy. Yeah,
Also, doctors telling you to turn your head and cough tell you to turn your head so you don't cough on them.
Yeah, I wanted to know why. I came back from a doctor's appointment. I was like, why does he ask me to turn my head? Like, does that have something to do with, like, I don't know, some physiological reason for turning your head? No, just so you don't cough on him.
Torques the tendons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Just so you don't get germs on the guy.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we got. That's the episode. Just kidding. We got more. Excruciatingly dull tales of our lives. Dark Bulb, friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Do we want to talk about some things that might be coming up soon? Some plans that we might have, or are those a little bit too early to share?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I also don't know what you're talking
I
about.
think this is all the chat that we had today while Cody couldn't keep up.
I know why Cody doesn't know what we're talking about, but I just can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Let's
So,
say no
you get
and leave
nothing.
people in suspense.
You get nothing.
Aha! None for you, Higgins.
Remember that time when Cody yelled at you for not announcing things on the podcast?
Now I'm announcing things in the podcast, and I'm still getting yelled at because he can't keep up. I think it's a him problem.
I was at work.
Well, you should be doing less work, okay?
I have
Like
to do
me.
more work. I was just off.
Like me, I'm doing nothing at work because I quit my job, and it's fantastic. I'm doing HOTDROP full-time, folks. Full-time HOTDROP.
God.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. I did quit my job,
That's a
though.
lie.
It's pretty great.
Don't worry. He has a new one.
Yeah, I have a new one. My family will not go hungry.
Without their French toast.
Exactly. We have enough money to buy bread. We just choose not to.
You
because it
know,
goes bad.
you know that Revolutionary era French people would be so fucking mad at you, right? For not having bread in your home. They fought for that. They
I have
literally fucking fought for the right to have bread.
It goes bad in a day, okay? I love Italian bread. Okay, don't get me wrong. I love Italian bread. Wegmans crusty Italian bread is the best Italian bread. I had Wegmans crusty Italian bread better than every single bread I had in Italy. Hands down.
I do not believe you.
No.
I mean,
Believe me.
Believe me,
Wegmans
is pretty great.
It was amazing.
I don't believe you.
It was amazing. So, I don't know where I was going with that. What were we saying?
Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary. Yeah. I don't buy bread. It just goes bad. So we get like a loaf of bread. We eat a couple slices and it's done. There's they need to sell. Here's my $1 million idea. Sell me half a loaf of bread. All right.
Fucking make a half a loaf of bread, Dan.
I don't have time for that shit. Are you kidding
You
me?
know they
it's
do
so
that.
easy.
They do that.
Who does
At
that?
Wegmans. Wegmans.
They don't do that.
They do that.
That's some bullshit. Don't believe you.
They do that.
$1 million
Also-
idea, folks.
Listen to my voice. They do that.
I quit my job so I could make half loaves of bread and sell them. But no, I did quit my job, and it's pretty good. I'm ready to move on to something else. Pretty excited about it.
Nice.
Decent.
I'm excited about it. Makes me want to quit my job.
You should quit your job. Everyone should quit their job.
No, I should keep my job.
No,
but
everyone
I
should
make
quit
me
their
want
job
to.
too.
Did you guys know J.K. Rowling wrote under a pseudonym?
Yes, I did.
Did not know that.
Have you read them?
I have not read them, but I did know that she wrote a couple things.
I wrote,
Is it
or
a
I didn't
murder
write
mystery? I don't remember.
it. Yeah.
That makes sense because, as we know, the Harry Potter series is just a bunch of mystery novels
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
written meticulously well, just right, friend of the show.
That's right. I read the first one called Cuckoo's Calling, and it was really good. Also, it takes place in London, so I was like, "Yeah, I've been there," or like, "I recognize that." Throughout
I
the whole
love
book,
that.
which was fun.
I feel that way about any movie set in Boston. Like we just watched The Departed again.
Oh
So
god,
seeing,
You a cop?
so good.
Yeah, cop.
Cop?
Not fucking cop.
The
Oh, there's so
Departed is
many
one
good
of
lines.
the best movies that has ever been made.
Fact.
It's really good.
And now I know all the locations where they film. It's pretty cool.
I still hate the scene where they smash off the cast of.
Oh,
on
it's
his hand.
awful.
Oh God.
Traumatizing.
It makes my hand hurt so bad.
I know. There's actually another fun fact about that movie. We're bouncing all over the place, and I love this. So I started getting into like, learning about drug dealing. Super into drug dealing. I like throwing old cops off of buildings as well. Spoiler alert. No, no. I got like learning about like audiophile grade equipment, like audio video receivers, speakers, stuff like that. And there's a scene in that movie, and I hadn't watched it in a really long time. There's a scene in that movie where she, I can't remember the name of the character, but she's Matt Damon's wife or fiance, girlfriend. I don't know who it is. She plays the disc right at the end. She like puts a CD into a CD player and puts the headphones on. Mm-hmm. So first she wears the headphones backwards, which is infuriating. But second,
I also noticed that.
Second, the wall of equipment they have is Macintosh gear, which is like tens of thousands of dollars, completely out of place, like blatant product placement. And I researched this. I looked up online, like, why did they have this? They specifically went out of their way to get that type of gear for this shot because I think it was because the producer like really liked it. So they saw it as product placement, but also like this is what someone who has a ton of money would buy. And it's legitimately like tens and tens of thousands of dollars of audio equipment, like just whole wall of like receivers and amps and preamps. And like they sell like a couple $100 thing that's literally just a box with their logo on it that lights up. It's insane. This company. It's so expensive. But anyway.
That's awesome.
Great movie.
It's a good movie.
Fantastic movie.
So I had a thing I wanted to bring up, and it was related to work.
Yeah.
And it's dealing with difficult people at work. And the only real good example I have is something that a friend of Sheen's is going through currently.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to pose the scenario and / complain about it.
Pose it, baby.
Pose.
So, friend of Sheen's got a last minute request to do a deliverable by like 1 p.m. that day or something like that. Totally fine. He had time. He did it, submitted it around like 12:30, 12:40, something like that. He was like, hey, here it is. Let me know if you need anything related to it. Day goes by, hasn't heard anything from the person who sent it. Hits 6 p.m. and he's like, oh, okay, I guess it's fine with everybody, so I'm just gonna go home. So he goes home, has dinner with the wife, goes out to the gym when he gets a text message from the COO saying, hey, you need to check your email. Looks on his email, the person had sent had just looked at the stuff basically when he left work on his drive home, sent a bunch of emails, and then immediately started going up the chain where of his position. So talked to his manager and then went to the COO to try and get this solved. And immediately that throws some flags up to me. That seems like you're just trying to get someone in trouble at that point rather than solve the problem.
Yeah,
Manager is a reasonable, depending on the size of the team, that's a reasonable person to get in touch with. But there are other people to contact, to try, 1, to get this done, or 2, to get in better contact with Jay, or 3, company directory to get his cell number and actually contact him. So anyway, he gets this text at 9:30 or something like that. So he goes home, figures it out, fixes it or whatever. And then turns out that the person complained to HR about him.
Ay.
Yeah, so he had to go to a meeting with his manager and HR to try and like talk about what happened. And I think people are aware that like he didn't really do anything necessarily wrong, but he's also Chinese. And they blamed him, or the person who complained made it sound like it was a communication issue. So now they've like assigned him a person who's almost on communication duty, like to make sure he understands the request. And it's not like it wasn't nothing to do with that. First of all, the request wasn't clear. So he did his best, like used his best judgment to try and like develop a thing and then ask questions related to it. No response for the whole day. So anyway, the whole situation is rather frustrating. So Sheen and I were kind of trying to talk him through like an email sent to like his manager and HR to try and like be positive about the situation, like try and rectify it while still like bringing his point of view around to make sure that people don't just blame like his very good English. So like he speaks English very well, like as the main culprit. So yeah, I personally was frustrated by a person who has a request that you do happily in the time frame, get no feedback, and then immediately jump to your supervisor for like some sort of response. I actually had something not exactly similar, but I was basically telling an accounts person that we can't do this thing on the project. And she tagged my supervisor in the ticket and was like, hey, can you confirm what John is saying about this? And my manager was like, I have no context for this project, but John, John is perfectly capable of analyzing this on his own. And basically like left the ticket. He just fucking shut her down.
Yes.
Like, right. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I started snapping at him. It was great. But yeah.
I feel like that's a clear indication of like good leadership and bad leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because you in a service industry,
and this person, sorry to interrupt, but this person is like a team manager, so like there should be a better thing happening there. It's not like this person is new. Anyway.
Yeah. In any kind of service industry, right? You're going to have so stakeholders that are customers
sure
are going to be doing that exact same thing. So like I deal with students and parents. You guys deal with customers or clients or counterparts for other departments, things like that. And you will always find people who will CC in every person imaginable or your boss or whatever to try and make it seem like I am CCing this person because I am a victim here, or I am somebody who thinks that going above it is going to help me.
Right.
But that's pretty evident at this point, isn't it? So that just becomes a leadership characteristic. All that does is put your boss in a position to support you or not support you.
Yeah.
And no, even if it works out in your favor, it still is agitating. Because you know that person is no longer a trustworthy person. Yeah. They're either out to cover their own ass or they're out to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
That's a stressor for me at work a lot, actually, is when I'm a real big stickler for customer service at work. Like I value it heavily because that is one of the first things I notice when I go into a business or call somebody.
Sure.
Is if they don't get back to me or they are rude or they're unreliable, like I won't give them my business anymore. Period. End of story. Won't do it.
Right.
It's well documented your experience at the doctor's office for getting your glasses.
Yeah. There's even this guy that I was told to call him for some tree work out of my house. I called him. It took him 3 weeks to show up to my house to start the work. 3 months for him to finish the work, dodging my calls, saying he'll show up Saturday, doesn't show up Saturday. And then the day after it's done, he wants to get paid.
Yeah, dodge him for 3 months.
I did.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, man, not home. Oh, I don't have the cash on me. Oh, sorry. And I did. I got it the day he showed up. But you don't provide something for somebody on your own timeline without communication. And it sounds like in your situation, you gave pretty damn clear communication, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that instance. Or the same people with your friend is like, they probably didn't like what they had heard, but they thought whatever their biases were, whether it was concealed or not.
Right.
Seems like I don't like what I'm hearing, so I'm going to go above and beyond and make a stink because my priorities are bigger than theirs, no matter what time of day it is.
So I think it was a self-importance thing. Like, my team is very important and needs these things done and perfectly in like first pass, basically.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a draft. There's no such thing as reviewing. That's what it felt like hearing his side of it, is because like they were basically trying to deliver it, and then an emergency situation came about because there was something that she expected on the like deliverable that wasn't there, or there was something particular about it that didn't happen. So like at that point, it's like there should have been more communication up to that point, and it feels like just almost more of an ego thing as a result of it. Like, no, this should have been done. Well, why? Why should it have been done like this previously? What indication is there to show that it should have been done like this? Like, there's nothing. There should have been communication involved in the process. It shouldn't have been like, oh, I'm asking you to do this thing, so you do it perfectly and I don't have to look at it. That's not how work is.
That's so frustrating. I mean, I have similar problems with just trust issues. It's just trust. It's like management not trusting, or like the person who asks me to do something then like escalates to someone else because they think that they're going to get the answer they want from someone else.
Right.
It's beyond infuriating.
Yeah. So part of it is like, I think is partially ego. Part of it is like just a power thing. Like,
yeah.
And then the other thing, like, I think the way that you fix this is there's a guy at my work who is a complete dick about procedure. Like, if you don't do something wrong, he'll just ask you like the worst questions that you don't want to be asked about your question to get the specifics. Like, it's really weird to phrase it like this, but he's basically a huge dick anytime anyone has a request for him if you haven't thought through your request at all.
Yeah, I have a guy like that at my work.
You'll get shut the fuck down if you come to him with something that hasn't been thought through. And it's really good in the aspect of it makes people think, but it's also really hard to work with him in some instances.
Right.
But he's been around forever. So anyway, I think having clear like communication for requests on this type of thing is probably like the best way to handle it, so that, you know, this miscommunication doesn't happen in the first place. And then it's almost the job of like managers and like the higher ups to, you know, bat down these people, these other team directors who are trying to vie for their attention when something like this happens. It's almost like what my supervisor did for me on that ticket is like, nope, this person has it handled.
Yeah, that's the right way to go.
It's tougher in an emergency situation where you're like panicking and trying to get something solved. But there are like, we live in a digital fucking era. It's not like he was in a black box somewhere, like completely uncontactable. He was just like not at work anymore because he works normal hours. So yeah. Anyway, really frustrating.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, communication issues is one of the reasons why I left my job.
Yeah.
Hoping they're better at the new place, but we'll see. Yeah.
If they're not, hopefully you can lead the charge.
Yeah, exactly. Be the change you want to see in the world, folks.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of if there are any other lessons from that can be learned.
I think it's always just really important to be the person that doesn't end up doing those same things just because. Don't fall into the rut of working the way that other people do. It is, because you get in these ruts. Like, there are times where I'm really frustrated with my job because I work with student staff. I work with students. I work with entry-level professional staff, and I work with administrators. And so there is a lot of different dynamics that I have to adjust to all the time. And I just know I can't focus on what other people are doing. I have to focus on the things that I want to be good at and the things that I value. And a lot of those fall within our strategic plan too. So I'm very much a systems guy.
Yeah.
And if I can stick to those things, I might get reprimanded sometimes, but if I can always fall back on those systems, I know I'm going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I rely on like personal relationships. I'm like a very empathetic person. So like when I'm interacting with somebody, I'm not just trying to be like the nice guy at work, just taking on all the work that I can. I'm trying to like see the problem from their point of view to try and help alleviate any of the kind of like bullheadedness that would come from a developer. And I feel like that helps me a lot working with people. Is I'm like generally friendly, nice, and positive attitude. And this is my resume. Feel free to hire me. Anyone who's looking.
I also run a fairly successful podcast with my friend and my acquaintance.
It's actually an excruciatingly difficult to listen to podcast, but
yeah,
you know,
same thing.
Wildly successful, regardless.
Wildly
Cool. I think that's our show, folks.
It's a great show. Let us know things that you want to talk about. I know that there were questions from the show that we did not answer this week. I'd like to really incorporate questions for the show again, and we will start to put those into our show notes and answer those now that we're at. Okay. Love you. Say it back.
Say it back.
Love you. Say it back.